Excellent. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2 hour session on PowerPoint. I will share the outline with you in terms of what all I intend to cover. Like I mentioned on the email, this is an interactive session in the sense that you can, of course, talk to me throughout the 2 hour session, ask me as many questions as you want. If I'm not able to answer the question right now, you can always pick it up with me offline. But the idea is that I want you to focus more on the learning, not so much on the practicing. The reason is twofold. One reason is that if you practice, then it will take you a lot of time, right? And then we will not be able to cover all the examples that we want to. And in any case, the learning part is more important. For example, which website to go to and how to create a good slide. Practicing will take you a lot of time. You can spend an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, how much soever you want at your own pace when you're relaxed without having to hurry and I'm telling you finish it in 5 minutes and we have to work on the next example. The session is being recorded. Right after the session is over, I will be sharing the recording with you as a link, so you can download it and you can watch it and rewatch it as you wish. So this is the outline that I have. I want to talk about primarily how to deconstruct existing work that other people have done. And see, that is true for both programming and for presentations. Any programmer who tells you that he or she creates codes from scratch, it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, why would you want to do something from scratch when other people have already done bits and pieces? Similarly, even with PowerPoint, because you have these hundreds and thousands of slides and ready-made examples available, the focus should be on identifying the correct presentation and learning how to recreate it, or at times learning how to modify it. If you say that, no, I will not go online and I will create everything by myself from scratch, it doesn't make any sense, right? Nobody in the corporate will ever come back to you and say that we create from scratch. The people who create the maximum number of professional quality presentation are people at the big fours and the big threes, mostly the management consulting firms. And for them, the important thing is that it has to be extremely high quality slides with a very tight deadline. Plus, they have to create a number of slides every day, right? So it's high volume, exceptionally high quality, plus you have a very tight deadline that you have to work with. And because you're working with different clients, it is equally challenging. The only question I have for all of you is, are all of you students or is somebody from the corporate as well? Just for my understanding. So some of you I know from LinkedIn.
Hi, Hamish. This is Ashutosh.
Hi, Ashutosh.
I'm a working guy. Yes.
Okay, all right.
We recently connected on LinkedIn, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, same here. I'm working.
Excellent. If I may ask you a follow-up question, how many slides do you have to create, and what is the key expectation that you have?
Very honestly, Hamish, I mean, I'm just trying to relearn everything.
Sure.
I'm not into, though I'm into the BD one, but
Right.
the presentation and all, that's a part of, my KRA.
Sure.
But yes, again, my juniors do that.
Got it.
I thought that's because still I'm working from home, so I'm just taking
Got
the
it. Got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So I think without further ado, let's get started. I mentioned in the email that the version of PowerPoint that you need to work on is Office 365, which is now called Microsoft 365. This part is very important. Those of you who are working would most likely have M365 with you. Students might have been given from the institute, but that's not the same thing, because that is the education one, which does not have all the features. I would strongly suggest that even if you have the one that is given by the organization or by the college, please pay 4,200, which is for 1 year. It's not a very large investment, and it's very important to have the latest features with you. Because if you don't have this, then you will not have features on Excel and PowerPoint and Word and Outlook and all of that. You can not get a cracked version because this is a cloud-based subscription. So you either pay 420 rupees per month plus taxes, or you pay 4,200 per year plus taxes. I don't get a commission by selling this. I'm just telling you that other than this, there is no other version which offers you all the capabilities. So you need to have this one, right? The number one most important website is evernote.design. All these links I'll be sharing with you later as well, but if you want to note it down, please feel free to do so. Evernote is a note-taking app. Some of you might have heard of it, right? It has been around for many, many years, and it's just a note-taking app. It's like a to-do list, which is like a to-do list on steroids, so it can do many things for you. But that's not what we're talking about. Evernote has this landing page called evernote.design, and what you have here is a curated list of essentially most of the best resources on the internet. For example, let's say you want to search for free icons. Usually what do? We go to Google and we say free icons. You find something, then the same link is being repeated many times. It depends on the search engine marketing and the SEO. Some of these are paid. You don't really find what you need. What should you do? Go to evernote.design, click on free icon, and then all the websites have been given here. Fantastic, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say we want to go to animated icon, open it, and you can see you have these are not just static JPEGs, right? So these are GIFs. So these are animated icons that you have with you. And it's fantastic. For a simple example, if I, let's say, click on this one, I save it. Well, this is the web page, so I'll have to click on it first. So I click on this. As you can see, we have the JSON file, which we don't need. We need the GIF. So I'll download the GIF. And on a PowerPoint, just that little bit of touch that you can put in. So now when we insert our picture from downloads, it's nice, isn't it? I mean, it's just that, like I said, it's that little bit of touch. You have a point and it just shows that little bit of movement and transition on the slide. Now, PowerPoint supports GIF. I don't know which version of PowerPoint all of you are working on, but you will have to try this out, whether you have this feature or not. Okay? Again, you can see that on Evernote.design, you have everything. You have illustrations, you have different types of design inspiration, right? And you can just spend your time and go through it. You even have videos and stock images, free images available, which otherwise might be very difficult to find, right? Imagine trying to find all of these on Google. So this is like a super, super important website. The second very important thing is to go to a website called uexec.com. YOUEXEC.com. uexec is a paid website, but you can create a free account. I also have a free account, not a paid one. So I just log in with my free account. And what uexec has is essentially ready-made templates on both PowerPoint and spreadsheets. So you click on format, you have different types of spreadsheets available and 117 presentations available. Now, obviously, with the free version, you can't download the complete presentation. For example, let us say we have this one, the Bain Management Toolkit, right? Simply click on it. As you can see, there are 18 slides, but with the free account, you can only download 5 of them. That's okay. We download it and look at the quality of this presentation. Fantastic, right? Like this is exceptionally high quality. The colors, the palette, the way animations are all uniform, the way the points are being presented, right? Everything has been given here. And the best part is it's 100% editable. So for example, if I don't like the color of this arrow, I can just go to shape format and I can modify it, right? Super cool. You don't like something, you want to change it, move it around, you can do all of that. Now see, in terms of animations, it's a little more difficult because when you go to animations and animation pane, I'm not sure how much you all have worked on animations, but let me tell you, I have spent 15 years working with PowerPoint and Excel. Animations are very difficult in PowerPoint. And this, what they have done is exceptionally difficult. Now, some of you must be thinking, but Havish, we don't need to learn it, right? We just need to modify it. Of course, you can modify everything, but it's going to be challenging. So don't expect to learn it in one day. You will definitely have to do some basic courses and practice with animations a lot to understand how to customize and manipulate all these things. It looks ready-made, but the moment you say, I want to change even one small part, you realize that it's not that easy. If you want to use the presentation as is, that's very simple. But if you want to change it, other than the colors and all, it might require a little bit of work. But you know what? I think considering the fact that there are 117 presentations, and on an average, you have 5 slides. You basically have about 650 slides with you. I'm very confident that you will find something that you like, right? And as you can see, there are many presentations available here for a variety of different things, for finance, for strategy, for operations, right? And the best part is each presentation is different. So there is very little overlap, and you even have calendars available. So UXec again is a go-to source. You should absolutely and utterly go to this website, right? Okay, the third thing is to deconstruct existing presentations. For example, if you look at the top 3 management consulting firms in the world, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG, whatever you are doing, you might be in an industry, in a functional area, or a student, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you want to look at the best quality slides available on the internet. Just Google it. For example, I can say BCG and just search for any area, let's say BCG finance PDF. This is how you have to search. You have to basically put a PDF at the end, and you will find multiple PDFs available. Now, I'm not saying that each one of them is going to be what you need, because some of them might be just pure reports with just text in it and very little of animations and colors and icons in it. But if you notice, like this one, for me, the slide is very important. I will call this a slide, even though it's a report, because what this teaches me is a lot of small things. For example, look at the way they're using differential colors. So to highlight these two, they're not putting a red arrow. They're using a color, and immediately these 3, your attention goes to. Look at the way they have put their subtitle as a center align, one level below, and the title is left aligned with the exhibit number. Look at the way they have a legend for the color, and they have also given the source and the note like this. Now the question is, fine, we have this, but then how do we create the same thing on PowerPoint? So let's take an example. I will take a screenshot, come back to PowerPoint and put it here, right? Now the problem is that they are using different colors. So they have this very nice green, which BCG uses. They have this green, they have this blue, and these are not your standard blues and grays. So if you look here, it's very difficult to find the exact color that you want. So what should you do? When you have the image, just save the image on your desktop. So I'm saving it on my desktop. Let's just call this temp. And then I will go to a website called color.adobe.com. See, everything I show you today is going to be free. There is no point of showing you paid tools except 1 or 2. So free website by Adobe called color.adobe.com. And what this website teaches you is something called color harmony, what you can see on the left side. We just turn on my annotation tool as well. Perfect. So you will notice they have something called color harmony. This teaches you how different colors go with each other. So you have analogous, monochromatic. Monochromatic is just one color, different shades. If you want like a really professional looking presentation, then you have complementary colors, which are opposites of each other, and so on and so forth. So I will click on extract theme. I will select my file, which I have on my desktop. And in one click, it will automatically tell me that there are 5 colors that are being used. We have this, and this. Fantastic, right? But then how do you get these colors into PowerPoint? Let's take an example. I'm just keeping this as a reference in the top left corner, and I will create a rectangle like this. I'll just make a few more copies as well. We will change the size and all later. How do you get the same color? Look at this hex code that you have here, this 4C7361. If you scroll, you will also find the RGB. Oh, no, hold on. So this is only the hex code that you have. So just copy it, come back. Let's say I select the first 3, go to shape format, shape fill, and then select more fill colors. And in more fill colors, you can change your color model from RGB to, I'm sorry, you have the hex code here, just paste the hex code here. So 4C7361, and you get the same color that was used here. Another way of doing this directly on PowerPoint is that you can click on shape fill and select the eyedropper And the eyedropper allows you to select any color that you have. For example, this is RGB 124192214. This is a different shade, and you get the idea, right? So this allows me to get exactly the same color that is there in the reference image that we have, right? So this is a very basic example, but this shows you how I deconstruct existing work and then I try to recreate it. Recreation doesn't mean you have to copy it 100%, but the idea is you try to take inspiration from it, and what you like, you use, what you don't like, you ignore, right? Any questions so far, anyone? All good. And if you go through these reports, you will see that you find so many creative ideas. Like, you know, the way I look at a report is I don't try to read what is written. That is not important. I just look at the skeleton. I look at the layout and the way they have placed images and icons and objects together. And then I try to see how I can fit it with my requirement. Maybe I'm creating a finance dashboard for all I know. This is not related to finance. In fact, this is related to finance. Let's say I'm creating a dashboard on marketing. It doesn't matter. I just want to understand the way they have presented it. You know, look at this. They have three colors and they have three lines. So we have different types of Swifts here. And again, look at the way they're using different types of colors and so on and so forth. And how should you search for these reports on the internet? Like I said, just Google, let's say McKinsey. McKinsey has some of the best presentations, PDF, that's all. When you say McKinsey PDF, you'll have hundreds, if not thousands, you will have hundreds of PDFs available. Just open any one of them. Let's say the state of fashion. In fact, this is one of the really good ones. Just look at this. It's a 128-page report. And it almost feels like cheating, right? That you have access to a beautiful report that McKinsey has created. And look at the sort of things you can learn. Look at the way images and text go with each other. Look at the way they are creating their different types of charts, right? Look at the way they have used different colors and made more interesting tables. So just not a normal table, but they have made tables like this, right? How they have created slide breaks, how they have created cover slides, and so on and so forth. But what if you're short on time? What if you don't have the time to take screenshots one by one and then try to make everything yourself? For this, you can go to a website called smallpdf.com, right? smallpdf.com. It's a free website. You don't have to create an account as well. Just scroll down and you have many tools available. In fact, I use this website for even signing my PDF. So if you notice, we have an option called split PDF, merge PDF, unlock PDF, protect PDF, and then an e-sign. So it's a very handy website in any case. For now, what do we need? We just need, by the way, look at this. Has it never happened to you that you have a 20-page PDF and you want to remove only the first and third page? How do you do that? You have an option here. You can just select the PDF and it will only delete those specific pages, right? What we need right now is to convert a PDF into a PPT. And I know you must be thinking, but how is that going to happen? Let's see. I have the state of fashion report. I will simply download it and call it temp and put it on my desktop, right in front of you. It can be any PDF that you have. You upload that file, which is temp. Now this might take a little bit of time, anywhere from 10 to 60 seconds. So depending on the size of the PDF, this might take a little bit of time. I have a very fast connection. So I have a 300 Mbps connection at home. So the problem, remember, is that sometimes you might have to try it 2-3 times, especially when the PDF is large. So don't give up. Just make sure to try it out a couple of times. But the end result will be definitely worth it. Okay, let's wait for maybe 15 more seconds. If it doesn't work, then I'll try it with a different PDF. In the meantime, let me also tell you, Every time I want inspiration, I don't have to go on Google and type EY PDF. What I've done is I've already created a list of different PDFs with me, which are readily available. So whenever I need an idea, I just open it and I can see there are different types of slides that have been, this is in fact a PowerPoint. So I can see different types of slides and I can try to take ideas and, try to put it in my own PowerPoint. So see, this is a little bit of hard work that you will have to do beforehand, but in the long term, this will help you quite a lot. Great. So this has been downloaded, converted. Let me download it. And this very cool thing will happen now. Watch this. The PPT, which has been created from the PDF, has now become fully editable, right? And watch this. This is the PowerPoint. How cool is that, right? Every single thing that you see here has become editable. So if you already like the template, you just want to remove these people and put your own people, you can just do that. You don't have to recreate it from scratch. You have an icon which you like or you want to replace, you can use that. Let me show you some other examples. Let's say you have something like this. You like the icons that have been used, but you want to change the number. Click inside and change the number. Can you imagine how much time this can save you? Like, it's all ready-made. You just remove what you don't need, replace it, or if you like it, change the color and change your numbers, and you have a ready-made slide available. Now see, will it work with every PDF? It will. To what extent, I can't guarantee that. For example, here you notice that this chart is a single object. But if I right click and I click on group and ungroup, you notice that the chart actually breaks into 9 different rectangles. How cool is that? Which means I can change it or change the color and all of that. A lot of people say, but Havish, the chart is not what I want. I want to change the numbers and change the color. No problem. Simply group and ungroup. Now see, sometimes the ungrouping might not work, but then most of the time it will work and you'll be happy with the output that comes out, right? So this is again a big help because UXA gives you ready-made slides. This gives you the ability of taking any slide, any PDF from the internet and convert, because see, you will never find PPTs on the internet. It's very rare. It's very unlikely that you will find them, but you will find a lot of reports because these are free reports, right? Okay. Now see, all of this is the easy part where I've shown you how to take icons and images and colors and ready-made designs. But the problem is that you still have to learn how to work with PowerPoint, right? Which is what I want to focus on for the next 90 minutes. If you stop the session now and if you say, Havish, I think we have learned enough. I think we are good to make our own presentations. I believe you. But then if you really want to excel at it and if you want to do something even special, even more special, then you have to learn those small nuances, right? Let me give you an example. Let me close this and open. No, let me keep the links open as well. Here's my folder. Okay, I want to show you. C drive, Havish Consulting, training, files, teachable, management consulting, and then final PPT. Okay, let's take an example. Something that I'm confident that all of you will like. I have this, let's start with a fancy one. This is a question that a lot of clients ask me. They say that let me put it on new PowerPoint so that it's all very clean. This is something I got from a report. I think it was a Capgemini report or some other company. And I loved it. I like the way they have created a cylinder with a number in it, correct? Now here's my question. First, how do you recreate the same thing with the same color? And second, how do you essentially make it animated? This is static, but we want to make it animated. It will look very nice, right? So this is what we want to do. Just to show you what the final result will look like, we want to do this. Right? Looks super cool. And once you have learned how to do it the first time, then it becomes easy, right? The first thing is you need to know what to search for and where to search. So we are searching for a cylinder. So I will go to a website called flaticon.com, FLATCICON. There are many websites like this. So there is a website called Icon Finder, right? There is a website called FreePick. All of these you will find in evernote.design. Right? So you don't have to note all of this down, because in Evernote or Design, you can just click on free icon and you will have many more websites that will be written here. Right? Anyway, this is something that I like. It is called flaticon.com. It has more than 41 lakh icons available. What do we need to search for? A cylinder. So let me type cylinder. And now see, some of these are paid. The ones that have a gold crown on it, these are paid. All the others are free to download. Let's try to find something that is very close to what we need. So if you look at what we have, I think we need something like this, right? Or maybe this. Let's try one of them. Let's just take maybe this one. Now see, these icons are free, but you have to attribute it. What that means is that if you're using it in a report or a PowerPoint, you have to write somewhere that it has been created by, in this case, Kiran Shastri. How exactly does the citation work? You can read it here. How do you attribute it? So if it's a printed element, you will have to write, you have to insert the attribution line saying image flaticon.com, and this has been created by that gentleman. This is, I mean, you have to be ethical. Like, it's not stopping you from downloading it, but ethically, you should always credit the person who has created it, right? If you're using it. So this is the icon. Now we will not be downloading this as a PNG, which all of us are aware of. We will be downloading this as a SVG. SVG is a scalable vector graphic. I'm sorry, I just had a power cut, but I have backup for my Wi-Fi, so you will not be able to see me, but before the backup jumps back. SVGs, everyone, are essentially a graphic format, just like JPEGs and PNGs, and it's an extensible markup language, which basically means for two-dimensional graphics, you can use it, and you can even animate it. It's like the standard. So this is how websites and web pages are created, right? What is an SVG file? The concept of an SVG, not to spend too much time on it, is that you have something called a raster and a vector. A raster means your JPEGs, PNGs, these are all rasters. That means these are pixels. What that means is that if you take an image and if you keep on zooming in and zooming in and zooming in, after a certain point, it will start to break. I'm sure all of us know that, right? Because these are different pixels of different colors. A vector image, which is a SVG, will never, ever get blurred. Why? Because this is not pixels, these are lines that are connected to each other. So no matter how much you zoom in, it will never lose the clarity, right? Okay, so now that we know that, let's download it as an SVG. Remember, it's a free download. Let's come back to PowerPoint. And all I will have to do is to click on Insert, Pictures, Device, Cylinder. Remember, it's an SVG image, and I'll import it. Now, currently, it doesn't look special. Like, I can't make any changes to it, right? That means you have to ungroup it. So right click, and then you have to say group and then ungroup. It gives you a message saying, Havish, it's an imported picture and it's not a group. Are you sure you want to do it? Yes, we do. So I click on yes and do it a few more times. Right click, group, ungroup, keep on doing it till you get 1, 2 different images, which is exactly what we wanted. Now that we have these 2 images, I can just reduce it so that it looks like this. Right. In fact, let me first group it so that make it like this. And right, so I think that resembles what we wanted. But now we need the same colors. This also now you have learned. You can use eyedropper. So I'll select the cylinder part, shape format, shape fill, and eyedropper. I will select the same color that we have here. And here I will select the same color. So essentially we're recreating what has already been given to us, right? But the question is, we also need this gray portion, right? Simple, just copy and paste this part. This you want to use the gray color. So eyedropper, and I'll select this gray. Same thing with the top, shape fill, eyedropper, and I'll select the slightly darker gray. I'm sorry, eyedropper, and then the slightly darker shade of gray, put it here. And what we need to do now is just try to understand this. This is okay, this part. So I'll move it here. I need to put it like this but then I right click and send it to the back so that this green comes on top. So there are essentially 4 objects that I have here, right? Four of them. So we have 1, 2, 3, and we have 4, correct? What we are doing is we have these 4 objects and there are 4 layers that we have with us. The best way to manage different layers are to click on home and then you select arrange, and finally you have the selection pane. What it does is it tells you that there are different objects that you have. So this is one of them, this is the second, this is third, fourth, and fifth. Even if you have 100 of them, for example, if I just copy paste them, you notice that it keeps on creating more objects on the screen, right? Great, so this is what we wanted, but where's the animation? Let's say that this is about 50%, right? I'll just insert a text box, or in fact, let me insert a shape. So insert a simple rectangle, nothing special, and I'll make this 50%. Let's also remove the shape fill, so no fill, and let's change the color to black. And we also don't want an outline, so shape outline will be no outline. Now we will, this is the important part. Once you have created the first one, you will select the slide, right click, and then select duplicate slide. Very simple. On the second slide, you will go to transitions and select morph. Now, currently nothing has happened because there is nothing to morph because the first slide and the second slide are exactly the same, right? So what we need to do is on the second slide, I will just move it below. So you notice I'm just selecting this part, moving it below, and I'm selecting this and making it a little taller like this. Just give me a moment. So let's move it down, right? And now we can just select this. Right, you get the idea. I'm not doing it 100%. We need to have a better image for it, but you get the idea. So let's say this is now decreased to 20%. And we also change the color at this point. So shape fill, eyedropper, red, shape fill, eyedropper, and then a red. And this one becomes shape fill, eyedropper, and a dark red. Now see what will happen. When I go from the first slide to the second slide, you will get this effect. So the idea is it's a 2-step process. You first take the SVG, ungroup it, create what you want. And the second step is you create the morph transition on a duplicate slide and you make a few changes here and there. Any questions, anyone so far? Just wait for a minute in case anybody wants to ask anything. So I would say that nothing in PowerPoint is difficult. See, it's not like an Excel formula that you have to practice it 100 times and you have to learn it. PowerPoint is just about learning the tool. Now that you know that, okay, Havish told us ungrouping and he told us eyedropper and he told us morph transition. It's just about doing it 5 times. The moment you do it 5 times, you will remember it, right? The challenge is that simply learning the tools is not enough. You also need to know how to create a complete PowerPoint, which is where going online and searching for these reports that I showed you, that's a very good idea. Like there are these absolutely fantastic reports. Like Accenture has some very good reports. Since Accenture has a digital arm as well, you notice that their reports will be, much more colorful and much more flashy than your normal reports. And these are all in a slide format, in a PowerPoint format. If you're short on time, you can even go to small PDF and ungroup it and basically convert it and then ungroup it. So you can get the entire PowerPoint with you. And these are, as you can see, these are large PowerPoints, right? So these are many slides in it. And I'm sure you'll find stuff that you like. Right. Great. Any I'm asking you again, any question or anything specific that somebody would like to ask? See, because for the rest of the session, I'm going to cover more examples like the one that I have covered, obviously different examples. So if somebody has any specific requirement or use case that, Havish, what do we do in such a case? Or how do we saw somebody else create a slide, I want to know how they did it. I'll be happy to answer those questions as well. Okay? Just take a minute and think about it. If there's any specific query that any of you have.
Yeah, Havish, hi, Sayed this side. I am audible, right?
Yes, yes, tell me.
So I have this query that the software, the online tool that you use to convert PDF to PPT.
Yeah.
Now I've used that similar tool over the internet, but what mostly I've seen is that the PDF gets each page gets converted into a single image. So is this the specific website that you used just now would not create this problem?
I'm not sure which ones you used. This one will convert it into an editable PowerPoint. There is another website called I Love PDF. I think this one also
This
gives
one
you
I
the
have
ability.
used. This one I have used, I believe.
Yeah, so maybe they just convert it into a PowerPoint. Small PDF converts it into an editable PowerPoint.
Right, right.
Yeah. So they sort of work with this API called Solid Documents that basically does these conversions.
Right, right. Okay. Cool.
And from an official perspective, I think there's a website called Cloud Convert, which is like the official website. I think this should, let me just quickly check. This can help you convert any format into any format. So, oh, they don't have PDF to PPT. Yeah, never mind.
Right. So, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but just keep this in mind because this is paid, obviously, but it's very cheap. Like they just bill you by the number of minutes that you're computing. So basically, if you do a conversion from one format to another format, and it takes 30 seconds, they will only charge you for 30 seconds, right? So it's exceptionally cheap. And this is the website that all large companies use, Cloud Convert. Right. Any other questions, anybody that you can think of? All right. So let's take a different example. I want to take something related to, I'm just trying to pick a good one. Yeah. Let's work with a map because this will help you a lot. Let's take a product, any product. We have, maybe a map will be better. Let's take a map by PwC, right? Let's just pick one of them. So let me make sure that the resolution is a little large. Perfect. And we have maybe this one, right? Copy, come back and paste it, right? So what we need to do is we have a wonderful slide with us and we want to show how we can essentially show the two countries that we are comparing. So maybe we want to show the COVID impact on mining operations for India, and we want to show it, let's say, in somewhere in Africa, right? Let's say in South Africa. So these are the two areas I want to highlight. Usually, I would say 8 out of 10 people do this. Either they will create an arrow like this and say, you know, this is the part that we are highlighting. Let's change it to red color and increase the weight as well. This is one way of doing it, and there's nothing wrong with it. A slightly better way of doing it is to insert a circle. Insert a circle, and in the circle, again, you can keep a red outline. And you can remove the shape fill, so it becomes like this. Like I said, nothing wrong with it. But we want to do something more, right? Look at this. I have an image with me. We will copy the image, Control-C, Control-V, so I get a second image like this. Right? Let me just make sure that's a JPEG, right? Control-C, Control-V, so we have a second image. On the second image, we want to crop only this area, this Indian region that you see. To do that, we go to picture format, and then we have crop. But do not click on crop, because if you click on crop, then it only gets cropped as a rectangle, but we want a circle, right? So we click on crop and we select an oval. There is no circle in PowerPoint, you only have an oval. And you notice the entire map has become an oval like this. But what's the point? We don't want to convert the entire world map, right? We just want to select a specific area. So we go to crop again, and this time we only select crop. You notice these black handles that you have, just move them around and just select the area that you want. So I just want to select this area with India in it. Let me also zoom in so that you can see this clearly. And we select a perfect circle. I think that looks right. Once you have selected this, now this is a secret between you and me that there is a second image. But if I keep the second image on the top of the first image, exactly blending it, so we want to keep it like this. Obviously, nobody knows that there is a second image, correct? Only you and I know that. But what's the point? Right click and duplicate the slide. Just like earlier, we will do a transition and a morph only on the second slide. Now, right now, there is no change from the first to the second slide because we haven't modified anything. So on the second slide, we want to take the original image, which is in the back, and in picture format, we can change the color to black and white, like this, right? And this area that we have selected, we want to go to picture effects and add an effect, any effect that you want, something like this, so it gets highlighted. And obviously, if the background image you want it to be in a different color, you have different options here. So you can choose whatever it is that you want, right? So what will happen is that when I go from my first slide to the second slide, we will get this effect. So the original image becomes grayed out, right? And that area gets highlighted. What is even better is that you can even increase the size a little bit so that now the effect looks like this. Right? Very simple and looks very nice, very professional. But what if you want to move this selected area from here to South Africa? We will make another slide. So right click and duplicate slide. And we will just recrop it. So I want to crop that smaller area once again. And I just move the map so that I select this South Africa part, right? And just move it to South Africa. And now see what happens. First transition is where the image becomes black and white, grayed out, and the selected India region is highlighted and magnified. And in the second transition, it actually moves on the map like this. Right? So it's a wonderful way of working with images, which can be a map or an object, right? Obviously, it will only work with images, but as long as you have an image on your slide, this ability to sort of highlight different regions is a fantastic way of doing that. Any questions on this, anyone?
So to create a multiple highlights, say if you want one slide, we want India and South Africa both to be highlighted.
Absolutely.
We just have to create another copy of the image, right?
Absolutely. So what I would do is, let's say you wanted to highlight India and maybe Australia. I just copy and paste this crop, right? Right click, crop it again, and just move the map so that you have selected the Australian region. I'm not doing it perfectly, but you get the idea. Right? Like
yes.
This. That's all. Now from my first to my second slide, 2 areas will get highlighted.
Great.
So the idea is that I am telling you the basics. How you customize it and add many more things to it is up to your creativity and your experimentation. See, you can't learn PowerPoint from a book. That's the problem. Excel you can learn from a book. You can't learn PowerPoint like that. You have to, for every example that I show you, believe me, I have tried 50 things that don't work. I've spent hours and hours trying some things which don't work or don't look good. But then I've realized that, that's how you identify the good ways of working, right? Like a lot of people ask me this question, that Havish, we want to create sorry, there was another power cut. So they asked me a question, how do you create a good cover slide, right? Now see, the problem with a cover slide is that, what can you do? You can put an image, maybe you can make an animation, you can put some colorful text, but at the end of the day, it's still what most of the other people are doing, right? This is what I do. Watch. I go to a website called Pixabay. Pixabay. Pixabay essentially has over 19 lakh images, icons, videos available. So let's search for a city. And in images, I will change it to a video. And these are free videos available like this. And you know, these are very generic videos, like they are not specific to a certain use case. These are the sort of videos you can use anywhere, right? Let's pick one. Let's say we want to take maybe this one. Click on it. Again, it's a free download. If you notice, I have not even logged in. You don't need to. Free download, download. And on Pixabay, you don't even need to credit it. On Flaticon, you do need to, but here you don't even need to credit it, right? Come back to PowerPoint, insert video, and I will select my world video like this. Now, what we want is that when let me put this as the first slide, when the slide opens, the video should start playing automatically because I don't need a person to go and click on the play button. So on the video, we can go to playback options and select start, not in sequence, but automatically. So what does that mean? When you press F5, the video will start to play on its own. It looks really nice. Now, obviously on top of it, you can keep some text or the table of content, whatever it is, right? And this works very well. But the idea is that this is a video and the text that you keep on top of it also has to look something exciting. Like if you look at Accenture reports, if you just allow me, look at the way they create these slides. You see this very large, bold text that they have created, like this one. It's extremely large in size, so it catches your attention and it looks really nice. Now, how do you create the text exactly like this? This is the trick. Let me come back to PowerPoint. I'll create a blank slide. The first thing is you have to create a text box, right? Just a blank text box, like a really large text box like this. In this, I will write, let's say the world, let's say the global landscape. Let's break it into 3 lines, increase the size. And you want to change the font into Arial Black. This is the one that I recommend, right? Because Arial Black is very similar to what these guys are using. Even though they're not using Arial Black, it's very similar to that. Now, can I just put this text? Can I just change the color to, let's say, white and put this on top of my video? I'm sorry. I don't think that looks bad at all. I think it looks fantastic, right? Maybe you can add some animation, but we want it to be more customizable, right? Watch how we do this. First, let me change it back to black. I want to convert the 3 words, the global landscape, into shapes. That means this should be a shape, this should be a shape, this should be a shape, correct? How do we do that? Insert, shapes, and just select a rectangle and select the entire slide like this, right? That means there are 2 things that I have on my PowerPoint slide. We have the text box, which is at the back, and we have the shape, which is in the front. Press Ctrl A so that both of them are selected. Make sure that nothing else is there on the slide. There should be no watermark, footnote, all of that, page number and all. Make sure it's a blank slide. Press Ctrl A, select both of them. On shape format, you want to select merge shapes and then select fragment, the third option. What does it do? I'm sure you can guess it. What this is doing is that it is converting each one of these letters into a different shape. How cool is that? Watch this. It just looks like text, doesn't it? But here's the best part. This is editable. That means you can actually move them around. So that means you can put different colors, If you want something to be a larger size, like what usually happens in document, you can do that. You see what I'm doing, right? And then you can do this fantastic effects with it. Just to give you one example, of course, you can experiment with it as much as you want. Just to give you one example, what I'll do is I will select everything. Please watch. And let's put an interesting color here. So shape format, shape fill, and select something slightly more interesting. Let's select something like this. Watch carefully. I will select the entire group of shapes, Control C and Control V. Basically, I made a copy, right? And this copy that I have, I will change the color to white, like this. And just move it like this, which is what we call an offset. You know, I'm sure you must have seen this in ads and all. The offset means that you're getting like this very nice three-dimensional effect. Now copy this, put it here, and just see how nice this looks. You can go crazy. You can add animations and whatnot here, but I'm just giving you the tools. I'm telling you that, okay, you can fragment a text box and a shape so that you get individual letters, and then you can, of course, play with it and do all sorts of things. Any questions, anyone so far? Right? And remember, in playback, there is also an option called loop until stopped. This means that, let's say I'm giving a presentation on the global landscape for my business. As long as I keep on talking, the world will keep on spinning, which is very nice. You know, the last thing I want is that there is a video which stops to play, because then it looks very boring. There was originally a video which stops to play, so you can keep it to loop until stopped like this. All right. There is also a variation to this process of fragmenting, which I want to show you. And a lot of companies do this. IBM does it a lot, Accenture does it a lot, KPMG does it sometimes. Basically, they have an image inside the letter. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Let me just try to show you an example. Like this, something like this. You know, they have an image inside the letter. This is a strategy and PwC report, right? Let me see if I can show you some other examples as well. I can't really seem to find what I wish to show you, but anyway, I hope you'll be able to relate to it. It's essentially an image inside the letters. This is how we do it. Same thing, insert text box. Let's write INR 200, or let's say the growth, right? So I'll say the growth is 200%, right? Increase the size. Like we did earlier, change it to Times New Roman, sorry, Arial Black. And what we need is to make it even larger than this. You will see in a minute why making it large is very important. Right? It's a simple text box, nothing special. Now, in the previous example, I showed you that you can keep an image, you can keep a shape in the front. This time, we're going to keep an image in the front. What type of image do we want? You know, something abstract like this, what Accenture is using. So let me just go to Pixabay and let me search for some abstract images. Let's see what we get. Maybe something related to technology. Let's see if we find something. Yeah, you know, these are, you know what I mean, right? These, they don't really mean anything, but they look something related to technology and business, right? Data analytics, something like that. So let's select maybe this one. We just need the image. So Control C and then come back and paste it. Now see what I will do. I will put the image in the front, right? Like we did earlier, we select both of them, Control E, exactly the same steps, picture format. No, sorry. shape format, merge shapes, and then fragment. And I hope you can all guess what will happen. Look at this. Really cool, right? You see how nice this looks, right? Imagine this was something that you kept here, right? I mean, the idea is that you don't have to go overboard and try to do everything at the same time, but you get the idea, right? That PowerPoint can offer you a lot. Once you learn these basic 15, 20 things, there's just so much that you'll be able to do with it. And the best part is it looks fantastic and people will never know how you have done it, because it's not really easy to gain these skills, because once I teach you, it's very simple. You know, okay, I have to do these 5 steps, but then it's very difficult to pick it up yourself. Like Excel, people can still get better over 15 years by watching others and learning. PowerPoint is not something like that. You can't acquire it yourself. You have to be taught by somebody else who has sort of learned it systematically, right? Great. Any questions, anyone? Good. All right. Let's look at, why don't we do one thing? I have a bunch of reports with me from where I've taken these slides. I'm just going to show you all of them. You ask yourself whether you will, learning what you have learned in the last 60 minutes, tell me, think about it, whether you'll be able to recreate it or not. And of course, you can ask me if there's something that you would like me to cover or something which you can relate to your own work. Stop me. These are all from different companies. Like this is an EY report. This is a KPMG report, right? This is a McKinsey report. It's just sort of stop me wherever you find something exciting or interesting, and I'll tell you. Or if you have anything specific on your mind, just think about it. All right, do let me know if something comes to your mind. Another website I would like to suggest is called flourish.studio. This would be Flourish, Flourish .studio. The catch here is that you can create a free account, which is what I have, but then you will not be able to put your private data. So if you put your data, then it becomes public. That's the catch. So if you have some non-sensitive data, then I guess you can use it, but otherwise you will need to have the paid account, right? But anyway, let me show you how it works. At least the students can definitely use it. Even people in the corporate, I'm sure you'll be able to use it sometime or the other. So I create a new visualization from scratch. You notice some of these are what we are already aware of, like bar charts and stack charts and all of that. And you must be wondering, fine, what's the big deal? Then you have this interesting one, like this multi-series grid. Then you have the population pyramid, you have the stream graph, you have different types of maps available. Look at these, bubble chart, quadrant chart, right? Like this. Let's pick one. Let's say we have the packed hierarchical bars, or let's select maybe let's select the packed circles, right? The simplicity of this is a sample data that they have given. You can put your own, you can upload your own data in it as well, right? The simplicity is fantastic. All you have to do is you just click on the layout that you want, and in one click it changes the complete layout. Very cool, right? Like, look at this one. I think this looks fantastic. Imagine putting this on your presentation. It's very simple to learn. It's very simple to use. I don't think you have to explain to somebody what you are presenting. It's just like it's like a column chart, which is coming in a pie, right? In a circle. And there are so many customization options here. So if you notice, every small thing that you see can be customized here, right? Look at this. You can change, obviously, the colors. You have different types of palettes available. So in one click, you can change the complete palette that you're working with, like this, right? Even the arrow colors, you can choose any color that you want. I mean, you will go insane. There are so many options available here, right? And what else? Right? And then you have these animations as well. So one second. I'm sorry, I haven't used the animation for a while. Anyway, you can check this out on your own. So that's the idea. Flourish Studio is a fantastic website. What you can do is you can create something here, take a screenshot, and then put it on your PowerPoint, right? And this animation is there, so that animation can also come, right? Another website is beautiful.ai. Beautiful.ai essentially allows you to create PowerPoints with animations in it with zero effort. So all of what you see here, like look at this one. I really like this, where the number is increasing. You can do all of this with very little effort. Let's see how. I just click on, I'll first have to log in. I also have a free account here. I don't have a paid account. So I can go to beautiful.ai and then log in with Google. Yeah, that's working. So let's close this. And we need to create a new presentation. So there are these templates available. Let's just select dark, which a lot of people use now. And you notice you have these different types of slides available. And you must be wondering, but Havish, is just a slide. Like, what's the big deal? The big deal is that once you create this presentation, you have a very simple set of tools available, very simple to work with. And look at the way you can customize all these things. Just one click, right? And then you have different types of layouts available as well, right? So let's say you want a business presentation. Right? And you can also put animations here. Don't expect me to be an expert at this. I don't use it because I'm able to work on PowerPoint, but if you have to add another slide, one second, add slide. And yeah, look at this. Let's say you want to add a timeline. Just click on the timeline. You have so many different options. Like look at this one, a very simple one. Just click on it. It adds a timeline like this. And you also have the animation here. So like this. Very cool, right? On every click, it runs the animation. In PowerPoint, you will have to do all this manually. Here, you can do it very simply like this. And obviously, you can present it directly here. Of course, if you need to download it, you need to have the paid account. I'm not sure how much that costs, but I don't think it's very expensive. So you have the ability, editable PowerPoint export, which is for $12 per month, billed annually. It's a little bit of money, so it's about $150 per year. But then, I mean, if it helps you, then it's something you guys can definitely consider spending. My opinion is definitely worth it, right? And even if you don't want to spend the money, you can at least go to the website and get a lot of ideas, like we got it from the PDF, because they have so many different templates available. If you go to beautiful.ai, at least by looking at this, you get ideas as to how you can also create your own types of slides, right? So definitely go through this website. It was launched a few years back and they're doing exceptionally well. Okay. All right, then, yeah, the other thing I want to talk about is how do you put a video that you have recorded inside your own PowerPoint? What I mean is that you have a slide and you want to show, I'm just thinking of the correct thing to tell you. So you want to show somebody how to, I don't know, create a Excel chart, right? So what I will do is I'll open an Excel file. Please watch. I will write name ABC 203010 and then save, right? On PowerPoint, we can go to insert and we have the option to do a screen recording. The screen recording is like a screen capture. That means whatever is being displayed on your laptop, that will get recorded. It is not recording the application, it is recording your screen. That means that even if you have YouTube playing in the background or you're working on SAP or on a software, that will get recorded. So I click on screen recording and I will select only this area. So if you notice this part, we don't need to select the entire thing. I click on record and obviously my audio will also get recorded. If you want to turn it off, you can do that. In this case, I want to record my audio. 3, 2, 1. I want to show you how you can create a chart using something very interesting, something better than a normal chart. Go to Insert in Excel, then select Get Add-ins. And then in Get Add-ins, you want to search for something called the People Graph, which is free of cost. When you select the People Graph, this add-in will get installed on your Excel file. And what you can do now is, once you have this add-in available with you, you can just go to your data, select your own data, which is name ABC sales 10, 20, 30, select the data and create. And it creates a chart. And you can also customize it by choosing different themes and different shapes and different colors like this. Fantastic. And the best part is it is also dynamic. If any change happens in the future, this chart also gets updated. So I've shown you two things with this example, everyone. One is how to record this video, and the other is how to create that interesting chart on Excel. But then how do you present it? So I want to have some container in which I'll put the videos. Let's just go online and let's just search for an icon. So we can go to flat icon, which is here, and let's search for let's search for a mobile phone. I'm sorry, what am I typing? Let's just pick one. Let's say we have this one, right? Looks nice. Download it as an SVG, free download. Let's just keep the video smaller so that I can import my SVG. We already know how to do this now. Remember, we have to ungroup it 2 times. So a couple of times, not just 2 times, but several times. So ungroup, keep on ungrouping. And what I will do now is I will make this a little larger first. So let's select this and make this a little larger so that it fills up the entire slide, right? Like this. Perfect. We will take the video and I'll keep the video inside my phone like this. Now I know what you're thinking, that Havish, is your hand not, are the fingers not coming over it? But remember, this is an editable SVG. This means that you can actually select different parts and just essentially put it in the front like this. Of course, it's covering a little bit of the image, but you can always sort of, that's the best part, no? Because it's editable, you can essentially do this. What will happen now, you will get this. Let me also turn on my, 1 second, share sound. Look at this. Create a chart using something very interesting, something better than a normal chart. Go to Insert in Excel, then select Get Add-ins. You get the idea, right? I mean, I know this is a little funky. Probably it's a little unprofessional for most of you, but you get the basic idea that you can record a video that you have, and then you can put it inside something. You just have the video naked as well. It doesn't matter. I always believe that like a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 10 pictures. It's much easier for you to explain something using a video rather than putting multiple images. It's much more engaging and people like watching videos, right? The next thing I want to show you is an option which is available only on Microsoft 365, which is 3D models. Nothing to explain here. You go to 3D models, there are inbuilt models available. So let's say you're searching for something related to business. And let's say I have this one, right? Just select it, insert it. That's it. You have a complete 3D model, right? You can even animate it if you want to. So on animations, you can do different types of animations here. So I know what you're thinking that, but Havish, isn't this like very unprofessional? Trust me, I work with so many organizations. I teach at the Big Fours and the MBBs and Fortune 500s, and 99% of the time, companies tell me, no, Havish, we don't do animations. Don't teach us animations because we don't use it. And I always request them, can you at least allow me to show you something? And the moment they see is they say, yes, we like it. Because see, animations have to be used very carefully and very judiciously. It doesn't mean that you have to put 100 animations and make it seem like a school kid made it. You have to make it professional. And as long as it's professional, I don't think there's anything wrong with using animations. As long as it adds value to the presentation. Right? You can even download other 3D models from the internet. You can just Google. I'm not sure if Evernote has it or not. Let's see. No, I don't think Evernote has this. You can just say free 3D models. If you're working with an organization, your company might give them to you. Otherwise, there are lots of websites where you can just go and get these 3D models for free, right? For example, this one, you can just click on it. You will be able to download it. And it's going to take 15 seconds. Fine, let's wait. And perfect. So it got downloaded. No, it did not get downloaded. Why not? Okay, I have to download it first. Oh, damn it. Let's look at free. Let's look at the same one and royalty-free license. It's going to take another 15 seconds. We have to be patient. So I'll not spend a lot of time on it because I don't expect you will need 3D models right now. But trust me, in another couple of years, it's once more companies start to use it, they will expect you to use them as well. Just spending 2 minutes on this. I first have to unzip that file. So let me remove all things that we don't need. There's no confusion. And is it still not downloaded? Okay, sales is downloaded. So unzip to my folder. Wonderful. And now you have these different types of file extensions. Some of these don't work. I also don't remember which one works. I think the FPX works. Let's try. You can just drag and drop it. And let's see if it works or not. Yeah, so this is working, as you can see. Right? Very cool, right? So you have these different positions for the model. Right? So see, what will happen is that organizations and your own internal design teams will start to make 3D models that you can use. Just like today, we have slides and what do you call it? Slide masters and templates available for colors and footnotes and images. Similarly, in the future, 3D models, when everybody has it, of course, when you have a 3D model, why would you not want to use it, right? Great. While we are on the topic of animation, which I showed you in a few cases, something very simple, and I never realized this. A lot of people said, Havish, animations are very difficult. How do we make it? And I said, what's the big deal? I never realized that animations can actually get quite difficult. So let me just insert a text box. And I'm writing Hello world. I'm just writing some random stuff. This is what I want. I want that these 4 statements should appear one by one. And the color should also keep on changing, right? Like so many clients used to ask me this question, and to be honest, I used to get a little irritated. I used to say, what's the big deal? Don't you know how to make an animation? Then I realized it's actually not that simple. Watch the steps. You have these 4 points. First, on animations, I will open the animation pane. Obviously, it is completely blank at the minute because we haven't put anything. What we need to do is, first we need to add an animation of any type. Let me select fly in like this. So you notice that all the 4 fly in at the same time, but we don't need that. We need them to come one by one. So what will I do? I will select these 4 points, right click, and then say start on click. This means this will appear one by one. So the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. Very nice. And let me also change the colors. Colors we'll do later. The problem here is that this looks great, but the colors are not changing, which means that I want that when hello world is there, it is like this. But when I go to the second point, the first one should become gray or a different color, right? Let's see how we do that. We will again select the 4 points, again add an animation, and I will select object color, this one. Right? Right click and effect options. And here you can choose the color it will change into. So I would just want to choose, let's say green. Right click and start on click. But the problem is the order of these animations is not correct. What is happening? First the point is coming, second point, third point, fourth point, and then the colors are changing, gray, 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 and gray. That's not what we want, right? We want it to happen at intervals. They have to be interspersed. Very simple. Just take the changing color, put it after this. This comes after this. This comes after this. You just have to make them alternate, right? Look how nice this is. First point, grayed out. Second point, grayed out. Third point, grayed out. Fourth point, grayed out. It looks very elegant, doesn't it? And once you become habitual to using it, trust me, you will always do this because either you want to emphasize or you want to de-emphasize. Sometimes I want the user to just focus on the current point, not look at the other 3 points. Sometimes you want the user just to focus on 1 point and not on the other 3, right? Or you want them to focus on the other 3 and not on one specific point. So whatever it is, emphasis or de-emphasis, this is how you can do this. Any questions, anyone? Just take a minute and think about it. I'm sorry, something started on my phone. Wait. Okay. Yeah, all good. See, I'm really sorry. I had no idea what just got turned on. I don't know, I clicked on something. Yeah, so see, this is going to take you a lot of practice. You know, with PowerPoint, I don't know if you're thinking like that or not, but trust me, it's just there are so many options available. Like, look at this one. If I select these points, there is something called brush color, font color, underline. Do you see the number of options that are there? Like you have this brush color, which will essentially make it like this. And I'm sure you have seen a lot of presentations that have these options. No? So see, you have to be curious. You have to start clicking in different places and seeing how it works. You know, the idea is that don't just depend on what I told you. I told you do this and don't just do the same thing. I'm just telling you all the right things, but then you have to explore further on your own. And also because PowerPoint keeps on adding more and more options regularly. Right, okay. I'll also save this PowerPoint. I'm not really sure if you need it or not, but in case you want to have a look, you can do that. All right. Just thinking, what is the next thing I want to show you? So we've done animations, we have done text, we have done images, we have done videos. If somebody has any specific question, you can ask. Otherwise, let me just refer to my PowerPoint and see if there's something that I can pick out from here. Oh yeah. So let me also speak about not how to create stuff, but from a color perspective and from a design perspective. For example, look at, let me just find the correct one. Hold on. Yeah, look at this. Usually we would never think of making our slide black, right? Because why would it be black? Like black just sounds wrong. This is a report by Ipsos, which is one of the world's largest market research firms. Does it not look fantastic? Like it's just such a high contrast because you have that black, that white text is very readable. And also you have this very fluorescent sort of green and gray and red that you have used. So that's what I'm saying. Look at this one. This again is very interesting, the way they have used it. This is again an Ipsos report. So my point is that when you go through what others have done, it gives you many ideas. Look at this one. It's so interesting. What they have done is they have taken a shape, they have kept a red color in it, and then they have kept a white font color. And that number, which is the KPI, has been presented like this. Just as an example, all you have to do is insert a shape, keep the same color as this, right? And whatever we write, so let's say of the world's largest we've basically done this. Once you've done the first one, then you can just copy and paste it, right? That will not take you a lot of effort. You get the idea, right? So, I mean, it's funny, but most of the time in PowerPoint, it's not difficult to make. It's not time consuming. Some things are like animations and more advanced stuff like the morph effect and all, but most of it is very simple to do. It's just about knowing what you want to do. And that's why having these reference images is super, super important, right? And again, if you notice, I do this, like I keep on trying out different ideas of, like I looked at this slide. I was doing this for the client and I tried to see what would be the correct way of doing this. Do you see they have a gap between the 47% and the 44%? Now, a lot of people say, why is the gap required? I like the gap because it shows essentially it's easier to read the numbers, right? So I will show it on Excel because we have to create the chart on Excel. Just to give you an example, look at this. We have, let's say, 4 regions, north, south, west, and east. We have the achievement and we have the balance to go, right? And then I have the diff. Let me just explain what I mean by that. What I want to do here is I want to keep, let's say, this is the gap. So 20, 20, 20, and 20, right? The achievement is 80, 75, 25, and 45. This is nothing but 100 minus the achievement. Fair enough? Let me keep the gap in the center. Or let's keep it like this. Now, what will happen is that when I make a chart, all of us know how to make a basic chart. Insert, chart. I'm going to select a bar chart and I'm going to select a 100% stacked bar chart. This one looks nice, right? This one, everybody. Let's keep it like this. And we also need to copy the formula down. Now, what we need is I need to have, okay, just let me complete the example. I need to have this gray in the center. That means between the achievement and the balance to go. So the achievement I'm going to color as green. So shape fill green. And the balance to go, which is this, I'm going to color as maybe a yellow because that's the balance to go. And this in the middle, watch this very carefully. In format, in chart design, select data. I'm going to change the order of the three things. So I have achievement, BTG, and gap. I will make gap come in between. So do you see this? We have achievement, we have the gap in between, then we have the balance to go. We will select the gray part. In fact, let me not keep it 20. Let's maybe keep it 10, right? And we will select the gray and we will also remove the color like this. Don't you feel that it just looks a little nicer? Like it's just a normal chart. There's nothing special here. But you know, just having that gap in the middle just makes it so much more interesting, doesn't it? Like imagine this achievement was only 25. It changes like this, it became 55, right? Or it became 89. There's nothing special. Like all of us can do it ourselves. It's just that nobody will think of creating a gap in the middle. If you ask people, can you do that? Like in this example, people will say, no, how do you do that? But as you notice, there was nothing special here. We just had to create a third column and that we had to remove the color from there. So it's not about learning advanced topics always. Like you have to be very experimental in nature. You have to keep on trying different things. And everything starts by first identifying what others have done. So I like to keep on looking at what others are doing and try to ask myself, how would I have done the same thing as an example, right? Yeah, any questions, anybody? I want to show you something very advanced called custom shapes, but any questions before that? Right, all good. All right, now this is a slightly advanced example. This is probably something that will take you a lot of time and effort, and it's very irritating to learn it, but it's important. I want to show you how custom shapes can be created. Let me come to the correct example. 1 second. You'll have to allow me to search for the correct slide. I'm sure I have it somewhere. Can we take this one? Let's try something different. That's strange. I'm sure I had it somewhere. One second. Yeah, this one. So if you notice, we have this very nice report. This is by McKinsey, right, on the travel industry. I think one thing that we learn immediately from this, the big takeaway, is that the colors. Look at the interesting colors that they have used. They have this very nice blue and this other blue and this sort of this green blue and this yellow color. Not typically what you would see in a report, right? And also look at the differential colors. So to identify different keywords, they have basically kept a different color. But that's not what I want to focus on. We have already learned this. We want to learn how to create this curve. Right? Let me just increase the size. This curve. Now, curves are very difficult to create if you don't know the right steps. Watch this. Insert, shapes, and I will select this one, which is called a curve. I'm warning you, it's going to get very difficult when you do it. I have been doing this for over 10 years now. And now I feel I've started to understand how it works. Please remember that PowerPoint is not a design application, which means that you will not really be able to work with it very fluidly. It's not very easy, but it works. It's just more difficult, but it works. Let me show you how. What I'll do is I'm just going to start somewhere. I will click, then I will click here. Then I will click at this point. Then I will click on this point. I'll click here. Once again, Then once again, and then press enter. Now, a lot of you must be thinking that, Havish, it's okay, but it's not exactly what we wanted, right? It's not sort of parallel to the line that we have. This is where you can use the concept of custom shapes, which means I can click on edit shape and select edit points. Edit points means that, do you see these black dots? I can just select the dot and make these very minute, very fine changes here. You can even change the curvature like this. How cool is that? Okay. So here I see that I have to make it a little different. I think that looks good. Maybe here the point can be moved up a little bit, right? So you get the idea, right? And once you're happy with the result, just click outside and you get the score. How cool is that? Edit shapes are a very important concept because it allows you to take an existing shape and make those minor changes to it. They don't work on images, they only work on shapes that you have been given already, right? Definitely, it's on my YouTube channel as well. And definitely go online and see about how these work, right? In fact, I'm just thinking, is there a free alternative to Illustrator? So there is a software called Inkscape. I don't expect that you guys will learn it. I personally have not had the chance to learn it, even though I work so much in design, because it's very time consuming. It's a free open source software. It is essentially it's like Adobe Illustrator, right? So what Adobe offers for a lot of money, these guys offer it completely free of cost, and it's a vector graphics editor, right? If you can just see in the learning FAQ, let me just give you an example. One second. Like I said, for most of you, this would not be something you will ever need to use. But if you really see, at least you should know about it, so that tomorrow, if you're leading a team of where somebody is working on design, maybe you're a product manager, you at least should be able to tell them that there is a tool like this that exists. None of the organizations that I work with, most of them at least, even know that there is a free alternative. And it's a beautiful tool. And it has a wonderful community, which means that on YouTube, you can really learn how all of these things work. Like I said, you don't really need to learn it, but it's good to at least know that this exists, so that in the future, if you ever need to work with design, you'll be able to work on this thing. All right. The next thing is Canva. Most of you would have worked on Canva already. In case you haven't, or if you don't use it enough, please use it as much as possible. I have a free account. I don't have a paid account, even though they have a paid account available, which is not very costly. Canva basically is the #1 design website in the world. And in fact, if you look at the founder, the backstory is that Melanie Perkins is the, one second. She's worth $1 billion now, right? With her design website at the age of 32. She started Canva like many years back. And then a lot of people were unwilling to invest money in it because they did not see the value in it. She realized the value in it, and the rest is history. Canva is like definitely the best design website in the internet, where you have these ready-made templates and designs available. For example, you want to search for presentations, just type presentation. And you have like over 1,000 presentations available. Fantastic, right? Like, look at this. Beautiful, completely editable. So whatever you want to change, modify, you can even add animations to it in a single click, which I'm not able to do for some reason. One second. Okay, I'm not really sure why not. Oh, I can only animate the objects. Is it? Anyway, I don't know. So as you can see, you have these different slides available, but there's a catch. The catch is that you cannot download it as a PowerPoint slide. There is no option for that. Unlike Beautiful AI and unlike UXEC, which gives you PowerPoints, Canva will only give you JPEGs. But that's okay. How does it matter? Because you can always make the change here, right? Whatever you want to write, download it as an image and then put the image on your PowerPoint. Somebody who looks at it, for example, if I just say that this is Havishram Consulting and I download this as a JPEG, just my current page. What premium image is there? Hold on. Okay, let me remove the images because we don't really need them. Download it once again. So all I will do is download it as an image. Come back to my PowerPoint and I can simply make a new slide and put this at the back. Insert shapes. So insert pictures and we select this. Now you tell me, can you say that this is not something you have created on PowerPoint? Of course not. This looks just like a PowerPoint slide, right? So this is how you use a hybrid technique. There's no point trying to create the same thing by using eyedropper and shapes and all of that. I mean, it's much easier for you just to make it on Canva, download it and put it here. Just like you put a video, you can put a slide. Obviously, you will not be able to edit it here, but you can always go on Canva and edit it. Canva does not have a restriction. You can save all the work that you have done. And if you feel that, no, Havish, I want to make the changes on Canva itself, fine. Then you remove the text boxes, just keep the circles and that bar at the top. Put the text directly on PowerPoint. For example, if you want to do a minor modification, just put a shape on top of it and make the modifications there. You can always do that, right? But learn to use Canva. I can't even tell you how important this point is because like Canva has these fantastic things available. Like you will go crazy and you will find so many things. If you want something more funky, you have that too. Like this. Okay. And all of these are free, by the way. Okay. Again, you can see there are so many different options available. Right. In fact, there's one other website I wanted to show you. But I don't think I saved it anywhere. A second. Let me see if I can find it. So free illustrations, and was it this one? Let's see. Like this one. So there are many websites like this. You have this website called Sapiens, which allow you to essentially create your, how cool is that, right? And in one click, you can change all of this stuff. I'm not sure if it's free of cost or not, but most of these are like really cheap, like just maybe $12 or so. And this is like completely customizable, right? So everything can be changed, right? And there are like hundreds of these websites. You just have to go to, you can even change the backdrop here. Just go to Evernote and you'll find all these options available. See, the only thing is that the website doesn't stop you from taking a screenshot, but it's not considered, I mean, it's not legal basically. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, the idea is that at least this can give you different inspirations of how it is that you should prepare your sort of presentations, right? And you have like dozens of these websites available. I think, let me just see if I can find the correct one. Is it Vector Creator? That's the problem, no? There are so many of these that it's very difficult to even remember which ones we want. I think this one was also nice. This is 404. So these are isoflash, no? Yeah. So these are isometric icons like this. I'm sure you must have seen a lot of these on LinkedIn. Even like companies use these a lot, right? So let's just say we want something more optimistic, nothing related to COVID. Let's just say something related to analytics, for example. Yeah, so as you can see here, you can just use a sample here and you can actually essentially build stuff that you want, right? Like this. I mean, what else do you need? See, of course, it's going to be time consuming, but you can just Download it completely free of cost, right? So see, when you have that presentation, which is like super important for you from a presentation point, maybe it's a review or something, and you are investing that time and effort, you might as well invest time in learning these things, no? Because all this will help you in the long term. Great. Any questions, anyone? I know it's a lot of information for one day, but that was the purpose of the training, which was to tell you that there's so much that you can do. And then of course you do it one by one. Anyone, any questions? Let me also talk a little bit about the storytelling side of it. So clean up everything. So we don't need this. We don't need this. Let me give you a live example. You know, something that I did for a client of mine. You have to give me a moment. All right. So I'll show you the before and the after so that you can also understand the process, right? I mean, it's very nice for me to show you single examples, but this is what the client gave to me. This is what I created for them, right? So this is what the client gave to me. Let me open the PowerPoint itself. That would be this one. This was for a competition presented to IBM, and this was the final presentation they created. And they asked me, this was a paid assignment. They asked me to basically improve how it looks. This is, the content is not important. The context is not important. Just look at the way they have presented it. They have also tried to do some things like making it bold and large font size, some icons, some background color like this. They've used these infographics as well, right? Like this. This is what they did. Right? And now let me show you with the same content what I created for them with no animations, because animations are not allowed. We created this. Remember exactly the same content. I obviously created a table of content, used my color. So if you notice, I'm using this yellow and this gray and this green color. Then rather than using infographics, I realized that using these people, you know, makes it much more engaging and much more realistic. This is not like a college presentation. No? I mean, this was for a very important competition. So these points were very important for me, and having two people speak to each other. Then, of course, I used icons from Flat Icon. I use these differential colors, right? Rather than making a simple chart, I use these colored circles. I presented it on the map. Then again, rather than just putting a screenshot of the quote, I kept the quote inside double quote icons and used an underline and a color that really captures my attention, because you're using contrasting colors here. And you get the idea, right? So every single thing was improved upon. And like here, I created a path like this, right? Then let me give you one more example. This is something I'm doing for a client of mine. Just to give you an idea how I create my PowerPoint, right? Like I've shown you what I know, but I also want to show you how I work and how my final products look, right? So this is like a data Jedi learning path. You can see the way I've created, putting images everywhere. Look at the way I'm using different colors, right? Right, let me show you one more. You would typically see that my stuff does not have like a lot of colors in it. I mean, I like using colors very frugally, because I can't share the other things with you because most of these are client projects, but I hope these give you an idea. Yeah. Anything else, anybody? I can't think of anything else specifically that I have on my mind. If you can think of any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I'll just share all these links with you as well. How do I send it to you? This one isn't. Oh, no. I'll have to send it to you. Anyway, I'll send it to you. That's not a problem. I'll type it and send it to you. So we have a little bit of time. Any questions, anyone?
Sir, can you explain what features are there in 365, what are not in today's session, which you explained?
Not much. So one feature that 365 has is this dictate option,
Okay.
which allows you, so the dictate option allows me to speak to the system and it transcribes my speech into text in real time. So this feature is only available for Microsoft 365 users, right? Then another feature is the ability of clicking on design ideas. If I write finance and I click on design ideas, using its own AI, it is able to give me different copyright-free images and videos related to finance like this. So you don't even have to go online and get all of these things, right? Another feature we have with Microsoft 365 is inbuilt icons and images. You notice in pictures, I can either import my own image, stock images, or online pictures. So if you notice in stock images, I have hundreds and thousands of things. These are all copyright free, high resolution images. I have icons available, and these are all editable. You can change the color and increase, decrease the size. You also have cutout people like this, right? Then you have stickers. I mean, if you want to use them, you have videos as well, which they have just added some time back. And then you have different types of illustrations as well. So the idea is that Microsoft doesn't want you to go anywhere else. Microsoft says we will give you everything that you need. So if I need videos, why the hell do I need to go to Pixabay? I can just come here and type city, and it will give me a few videos. But see, in Pixabay, you will get dozens of videos. Here, you will only get 2 of them. But if you're not too finicky, then you can always click on insert. That's it, you get the video. Okay. So that's what Microsoft is trying to do, is kind of give you all these features directly inside PowerPoint, right? It also has 3D models. I think this is only available for Microsoft 365. Other than this, definitely test, insert, and add-ins as well, right? This is like a marketplace where you have different apps available. So you can see there are different types of apps. For example, we have something called a web viewer. On the web viewer, you can simply, okay, let me update it. So let's say you want to show a web page. I will put my own website here. It's, should I reload it? 1 second. I don't know. I mean, that's how it works. Let me try something else. Anyway, you get the idea. Basically, it will just show you the non-secure web pages are not supported. Got it. So probably it has to be like a Wikipedia page, and any web page that you have, you can just put the URL here and you can preview it. I'm still not sure why it's not working. Anyway, you guys can test it out. So like this, you have different types of add-ins available, which are just like apps. They will offer you different things. Like you have a emoji keyboard, you have what else? Like video players that you can put in. You also have a link to icons, right? You can put different types of diagrams and stuff like that. Like you have these free stock photos. So you don't have to go to the internet and download them. Whatever you need, you can simply get it directly from OpenPixels like this. So you want to search for business. And let me do it once again. Okay, let me just search for a popular search. Music, and it's not working. I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the fact that I'm on a call with you right now. But these are add-ins that have been created, which are extensible. So they offer more capabilities to what you get on PowerPoint. Like the people graph that I showed you on Excel, similarly on PowerPoint, you have these features. I think add-ins are available on other versions of Microsoft as well, but in the future, Microsoft will keep on releasing more and more things, which will only be available for Microsoft 365. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, sir.
Great. Anything else, anyone? I think I've told you about all the websites. There's just one more website that I like, which is lucidchart.com. Lucidchart also has a free account, and this allows you to create these process charts. There are hundreds of templates available, which you can test out. So if you notice, when I create a new template, you can see they have these hundreds of templates available for nearly every business requirement, right? So if you want to search for brainstorming ideas, look at all this. Very cool, right? That means you don't have to create these things from scratch. Just click and it will create it for you. And these are fully editable. Of course, this will not come as a slide, but you can download it as a PDF or a JPEG, right? So this again is a website you should keep in mind, lucidchart.com. Lucidchart.com. Something that I use all the time. Right. Great. I'm done from my side. I think everything I wanted to cover, I have covered. Now you guys obviously will have to practice whatever areas are important to you. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me and I'll be happy to share the correct link. Or I don't think you will need a lot of help. It's mostly about practice now. And at least in the beginning, the speed will be a little slow. It takes time to get used to PowerPoint. But that's why I suggest please learn as many shortcuts and tips and tricks that you can. Because if you spend 30 minutes creating a slide, you will not have time to create 10 slides. The idea is also to increase and improve the speed. And that can only happen with practice, which is one. And the other is to learn as many tips and tricks that you can. Just Google it, best tips on PowerPoint. My YouTube channel also has a lot of videos on PowerPoint. We just go to this playlist on PowerPoint. And I have like, what, 40 videos here, each covering a different topic. And these are like 1 minute, 2 minute videos each, right? Both for Excel. For Excel, I have a larger number of videos. I have about 138 videos on Excel. And this will take you a lot of time to cover. Like there are so many different things that I've explained here. Great. So I will be sending you the PowerPoint. I will be sending you all the links and the recording as well, right? If you need anything specifically in addition to this, you can always let me know and I'll be happy to share it. Great. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I hope there were learnings for all of you. And yeah, we're going to work with PowerPoint for the rest of our life. So we might as well start to like working on it.
Sure. Thank you, Havish. I mean, seriously, I mean, most of the things are new to me. I have to work a lot. I must say, and I have no issue. I mean,
that's the first big step.
Shy, I mean, saying that I didn't know most of the things.
No, that's all right.
Thank you so much for imparting this valuable knowledge. I mean, seriously, it's really valuable. Very, very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll send the email in about 30 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Havish.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Sanjay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.